Issue 11. Cars. The car is not only a status symbol, though clearly it is one of the most obvious ones. In fact, it is difficult to imagine modern civilization without the automobile. Even in crowded cities with good public transport systems, the car is ubiquitous. It allows people to go wherever they wish fairly inexpensively. In a single day, they could drive to a different city, look at the various sites, go shopping, and then move directly to a hotel for the night, all without being dependent on someone else's schedule or routing. Or people can do their normal shopping and other activities on a daily basis. People can even decide to get in their car and just drive for the thrill of it, with no goal or destination in mind. But this freedom also brings responsibility and problems. Cars can be dangerous weapons if not safely operated, and they are responsible for a large part of the greenhouse gas emission that is transforming the world's climate. In addition, cars require an immense amount of space, as evidenced by all the highways, streets, parking lots, and garages that fill up our land. Comprehension. 1. What needs do automobiles fill for many people? Give at least 3 answers. 2. What are some problems associated with cars? 3. How is a car a status symbol? What kind of vehicle do you own? Express yourself. 1. Do you need a car? What kind of car do you like best? 2. Are you willing to buy a used car? Why or why not? 3. Do you think your car represents your social and financial status? Why or why not? 4. Do you think you are a careful driver? Do you ever violate traffic rules? 5. What traffic rules do people most often break? Why? 6. Have you ever been ticketed by a cop? For what? How did you feel? 7. Do you think current speed limits are proper? Why or why not? Should they be higher or lower? 8. Do you think current gas prices are reasonable? Why or why not? 9. Do you have any ideas that would save gas? 10. Do you think women drive more carefully than men? Are young drivers better than older ones? 11. What are some common distractions for people behind the wheel? What can be done about them? 12. The number of people falsely claiming to be hit by automobiles to collect insurance money is on the rise. What are the reasons? 13. What do you think about allowing motorcycles on the expressways? Is it a good idea? 14. Would you buy a foreign car if you could afford it? Why or why not? 15. What are your priorities when buying a car? 16. How old is too old to drive? At what age would you consider giving up driving? 17. Is your spouse a backseat driver? Do you pay attention or get irritated? 18. Do you think public transit is convenient enough to make cars mostly obsolete? 19. What do you think about a policy that allows the elderly to use public transit free of charge? 20. Do you think that electric and hydrogen cars are too expensive? What are the conditions that would enable the majority of people to buy them? 21. Driverless cars are now being developed. If they are allowed on the road, will they be safe? 22. What are the most ideal and futuristic cars you can think of? Opinion samples. 1. On an individual basis, there is no way of predicting someone's driving performance on the basis of gender. However, statistically, it is not even close, and insurance rates bear this out. On average, men are much more likely to cause and be involved in serious traffic accidents than women. They tend to drive faster and to be less concerned about following the established rules. Perhaps it is a matter of testosterone, a vestige of the old, very old days when men had to be daring to kill game and fight off enemies. Maybe it is due to social rearing and allowing males more latitude in their behavior than females. But societies are changing. Women are doing tasks formerly dominated by men, and men are beginning to fill formerly female roles. In behavioral terms, women are also competing with men in the practice of what used to be male vices, such as smoking, drinking, and sexual desire. Perhaps this trend will soon eliminate the differences in male and female driving habits as well. 2. Old people are a menace on the road. They don't see very well, and they don't react well to changes in traffic circumstances. They are slow and cause younger, more impatient drivers behind them, who want to get ahead of them, to take unnecessary risks. So even if the slow old driver is not involved in the resultant crash, he or she is surely the actual cause. For all these reasons, we should start restricting the permissible driving circumstances of the elderly. For example, by forbidding them to drive at night or on the expressways, beginning at 50 years of age, and not granting them any licenses at all after they are 70. Dialogue. Are drunk drivers sober enough to decide if they can drive?
Are you ready to leave?
Sure, let's call a taxi.
Why would we do that? Our car's here.
But neither of us is in any condition to drive. We had too much to drink.
Speak for yourself. I'm perfectly able to get us home safely.
No, you're not. I'm in worse shape than you are, but that doesn't mean that you're okay to drive. Even one drink is too much, and you've had more than one.
Those are just statistics. My physical and mental capacities are just as sharp as ever. I've been real careful not to go past my limit.
It's that attitude that leads to dangerous driving attitudes. The feeling that somehow my ability to hold my liquor somehow makes me immune to the laws of chemistry. It just doesn't work that way.
Since when did you become an expert in chemistry?
I'm not, but I know enough to understand that alcohol, even a little bit, slows our reflexes. Even a tiny slowing makes it more difficult to respond quickly to some sudden change. But the problem is compounded by a corresponding impairment of judgment, and alcohol simultaneously breaks down our inhibitions, so we don't pay any attention to our normal restraints. In combination, all these effects make drunken drivers an accident just waiting to happen.
I don't need a lecture. I just want to go home.
We don't need to cause an accident that could kill or seriously injure ourselves or somebody else. A taxi is lots cheaper than the cost of an accident.
If you feel that way, we might as well stay longer. After all, a few more drinks will make any difference if we have to take a taxi anyway.
Okay, we can stay longer. But I think I've had enough to drink for one night.
If we stay long enough, maybe you'll feel sober enough to drive us home.
That's not going to happen. Questions. 1. Is one drink actually too much for a driver to imbibe? 2. Does it make any difference whether one drinks wine, beer, or spirits? Are the effects different? 3. If alcohol negatively affects people's judgment, how is it possible for drinkers to evaluate their own impairment? Read and discuss. What's fair is fair. If a minimum wage man drives too fast, he is fined the same amount as a rich person. This may be a substantial part of the poor man's livelihood, but may not even represent a few minutes' income for the wealthy person. This may encourage the poor man to be more careful, but it will not have the same deterrent effect on the rich one, who will continue to flout the law with impunity. The principle of equal treatment is a good one, but so is the principle of equal effectiveness. After all, if a court imposes bail on someone to permit release from incarceration while awaiting trial, the ability to pay is usually an important factor. Why can't the same standard, the ability to pay, be applied in other circumstances as well? Questions. 1. Which is more important, equal treatment or equal effectiveness? Defend your answer. 2. In athletic contests, should we put extra weights on the faster runners in order to make the contest more equal? Why or why not? 3. Does wealth buy privilege in our society? Should it? Let's talk funny. Epic traffic jam in China leaves drivers stuck for 9 days. A severe traffic jam left a lot of Chinese drivers stuck on the highway for 9 days. They were on the way to their vacations.
Whoa! What did they do?
They just slept on the roadside and played cards to kill time. But some were angry because vendors overcharged them for food, and they had to give up their vacations and return home.
Sleeping away from home, playing cards, being overcharged, it sounds like a typical vacation to me.
You're right. In this case, we should just call it a traffication.
Questions. 1. Since most people don't have 9 days for vacation time, should they be fired for not returning to work on time? 2. Would you stay on the road 9 days in a traffic jam, or would you just return home? How long would you persist before you gave up? 3. What is the worst traffic jam you've ever been stuck in? Tell us about it.
Points to ponder. The following sentences are all related thematically. They express a wide difference of opinions and attitudes. You may agree with some of them and disagree with others. Please discuss what you think the sentences mean and what you think about them. 1. Driving an automobile would be a much greater pleasure if each motorist would use his head as much as he uses his horn. 2. A cheap old car can be quite annoying, but so can an expensive new one. 3. Natural death is now defined as being killed by an automobile. 4. A new car isn't a barometer of how much money a fellow has, but it's a pretty good indication of how much he owes. 5. There are 3 things men always talk about: women, sports, and cars. 6. Giving money and power to the government is like giving whiskey and car keys to teenage boys. 7. When a man opens a car door for his wife, it's either a new car or a new wife. 8. A dream without ambition is like a car without gas. You're not going anywhere.